Guys, hello, welcome to vlog 4 of season 2 of 4 Sides of a Vlog. In fact, this vlog is going to be a questions and answers vlog, which is going to be primarily relating back to the first season of 4 Sides of a Vlog. So if you're new to this channel, my name's Rob. I travelled the world for a year, primarily to write a book and to also film a documentary. I'm in the editing phases of those projects right now, and I travel and make videos for YouTube, so hi, nice to meet you. And for those of you guys that have been around since the first vlog or somewhere in the middle, friends, family, whatever, good to see you again, guys. It's been a while since I've uploaded a video to YouTube, I think maybe 2 months already. And there's been a few reasons for this. I mean, the obvious reason is I just got back from travelling for a year. I have so many things I had to do and catch up on, see friends, family, I had to find a job, live, and just kind of reintegrate back into society. What have I been doing since I saw you guys last? My friend Alex, he came to visit me. I haven't seen him in over a year. A bit of a road trip, and we did some hiking through these like valleys and mountains here in England, which is really beautiful. And I started my new job. I've always worked in aerospace. I came back and found a job in a big aerospace company. I've got some tattoos. I got David Bowie tattooed on my foot because he's one of my heroes. Without further ado, I'm just gonna keep this pretty straightforward and dive into some questions. Okay, so the first question comes from my friend Dave here in England. So Dave, what do you got to say?
Did you wear sandals?
Did I ever wear sandals? It's a very good question and a very valid question. Wait one moment, I'm just gonna have a bite of this cookie, Dave, and then I'll let you know. So yeah, Dave, did I wear sandals? No, but kind of a little bit. I mean, I didn't wear sandals. Sandals are a bit, I mean, like, I get it, they're practical sometimes. In other countries, they'd be like, hey, what's wrong with wearing sandals? I understand, you're right, there's probably nothing really wrong with wearing sandals, but I guess in England, we kind of like, footwear is kind of important in England, you know, good shoes is a... So Dave, I didn't really wear sandals, but what I did wear was, at one point, I did buy some Crocs. But the thing is, let me try and sell this to you, and I'm not sure it'll work, but let me try. Crocs. Now Crocs are if you're not familiar with them, they're like the plastic shoe with a plastic kind of covering over the top with lots of little holes in. A lot of people wear them, like hippies wear them, and like old people wear. They're just not, you know, people wear them with socks, and it's like, ugh. But actually, I was kind of walking around. It's really difficult, especially in Asia, where there's a lot of really shiny, slippery sidewalks, and you're forever slipping over. If you wear like flip-flops, you walk around that stuff, and you're just skiing all over the place, almost breaking your neck. So I was like, you know what? Crocs have grip on the bottom, and it doesn't matter if they get wet, because you can't wear sneakers. You can't wear like your Nikes or Adidas or whatever, because they just get soaked through in seconds, right? So when it's really pouring with rain, you need something kind of waterproof, and hiking boots are waterproof to an extent, but they're not waterproof enough to like just be out in it all day. You know what? These Croc things are a good idea. They're plastic, but you know, it doesn't matter if they get wet, and they've got some grip on the bottoms. I was in Penang Island in Malaysia, these Crocs for like $2, and I did buy them, Dave. I have to admit, I felt pretty gross about it. Actually, I kind of wore them for 2 days, and they rubbed on the back of my foot, and I was just like, that's just the perfect reason to never wear Crocs, or even mention this ever again. But then here I am telling you guys on the vlog exactly what I did. So there you go, Dave. Yes, I didn't wear sandals, but I did buy some Crocs. But then I threw them away. Alright, next question. So Anna in Dubai asks, I'm sure you love all the countries you visited because they're unique in their own way, but which country would be your favourite, or did you love the most? And if you can't name one, you can name 3. So Anna, Cambodia for sure is my #1 favourite place I've visited in the last year. And it's just beautiful in every way. The people, their smiles, their kindness, their gentleness, their generosity, the beautiful landscape, the diversity of the country, its proximity to other places. Cambodia is just a beautiful place that I could very happily live in, and totally stole my heart. I could talk about it for hours, but I won't. Just go and visit there. It's just absolutely incredible, and the people are beautiful. Probably the kindest, nicest, most beautiful people I've discovered in my travels around the world. You said I can name 3, so I'm going to name 2 more. One I'm going to name is a bit of a curveball. I'm going to name America as a very underrated and interesting place to go and visit, primarily because a lot of people have this misconception of America that bad government, Trump and all this stuff, bad gun controls, obesity. There's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of negative kind of press about America. But the truth is, when you get there, it's such a vast country that there's so much diversity there, just in terms of nature. There's deserts, rainforests, national park, heritage cities like Chicago and New York, sprawling, bizarre, futuristic places like Las Vegas and Los Angeles. But more importantly, I think, it's the kindness of the American people, the generosity and how welcoming they are. They go above and beyond in everything they do. Some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. As a third country or third place, I'm going to say Bali. I love coffee. So Timu in Finland asks, what is the scariest place I've ever been? I mean, that's all relative. I mean, like, being in England scares me. People's mindset in Europe, people's entitlement and sense of entitlement in Europe and England, that scares me. But you know what? I know what your question is. It's asking where have I felt most afraid or most fearful for my safety, that kind of thing. So let's think about that. So I was in Sao Paulo once, in Brazil. I'd been down to Rio for New Year's Eve and taking an overnight bus back to Sao Paulo. I think we arrived back in Sao Paulo main train station around 7 p.m. at night. Then we had to take a train from there, I think, on the metro system across town, and then I had to go and take a bus from there back to my friend's mum's house. Now, as we took the train on the metro, we were walking out of the metro station to go and get the bus, and walking down this path, and there was some guy had just been shot on the floor. And there's a bunch of kids around kind of filming him on their camera phones. And then just about 10 metres up that way, another guy had been shot in the back, and he was kind of dead on the floor up there. So it's like a double murder, which is probably like a gang or drug related thing. So I mean, like, generally speaking, you're going to be okay as a general bystander or someone from the general public walking past. It's one gang against another gang. It's not like they're just shooting random members of the public. But that happens in Brazil, and it happens in some of the other South American countries. There is a high crime rate and a high murder rate in some of these places, so you have to be aware of that. And it's something that you can kind of work around. Once you kind of understand that's there, then you kind of get it into your head that you might see this, someone might try and rob you with a gun, and if they do, you give your phone and your wallet and just, don't worry about it. That didn't really scare me because I knew that was a bit of a fact of life there and it happened, so I was kind of aware of that, so it was kind of like a whoa. Okay, Ezra in Turkey. Hi Ezra. Ezra asks many questions. I can't answer them all here. She sent me this great list and they're all actually fantastic. Maybe I'll try and answer a few of these other questions I can't answer here. I'll do like a quick IGTV video on Instagram. So if you guys don't already, follow me on Instagram. In the description box of this video there's a link to my Instagram. If you click on that, you can see like much more daily updates and some photos and all this kind of stuff. And I'll make a short video to put on there of any questions I can't answer here. So Ezra, she asks, the first question is dun 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 dun. Ezra asks, and she knows clearly my passion for coffee, and she says, where was the best coffee you ever tasted on your travels? Very good question, very good question. I had a coffee in the mountains in Cambodia, a coffee plantation, where they literally collect all the coffee beans from the plantations, they dry them out in the sunlight, and when they're done, they then ground them into coffee, and they will serve you fresh coffee straight from the roasted beans from that plantation, and that was absolutely delicious. In terms of the tastiest coffee, that was probably like my favourite. Ezra also asks, have I ever fallen in love while travelling? There's $1 million question, right? I'm sure you'd all love to hear some answers to, right? I could answer that very quickly and easily. I fall in love with every place I arrive at. I fall in love with all the people I meet. But I'm pretty sure you're asking it more on a kind of personal basis. Have I fallen in love with a woman while travelling? I'll be honest, that in this last year I was travelling around the world, I met people that I'm very, very fond of, that I'm very much in touch with, but at the same time, whilst I was travelling, I couldn't commit to anything while I was moving on to the next place. Because the structure of my travelling was so that I was, writing a book and I was also filming a documentary. I had kind of pre-planned in my head the countries I wanted to base that book and documentary. I wanted 4 different places because it's called 4 sides of a coin. So America, Cambodia, Japan and India, these were 4 places that I was going to go to no matter what, and I kind of made a promise to myself that I'd sacrifice everything from selling my home and quitting my job to actually make this book and this documentary. And because I did that, I wasn't going to let some relationship or some girl kind of come in and kind of just blow that apart and distract me and me not get that finished. I always had to kind of keep moving. So whilst I met people and we became close to some people, I always had to kind of keep moving to the next place, so I had to kind of keep that a little bit to one side and focus really on the work I wanted to do. So there's the answer. Ezra also asks, I want to answer this too, let's just go through as many as we can. Ezra asks, do I prefer cities or do I prefer nature? And she actually said she thinks she knows the answer, but she'd like to hear anyway. So I don't know if you do know the answer, Ezra, because I actually love both very equally. And I learned a lot about this while I was traveling, in that I would always say to myself, hey, you know, like, I love nature, I just want to go and live in the mountains and live in the middle of nowhere in a hut on a hill somewhere. But the reality is, when you've actually been in the middle of nowhere for like a week, and you've got ants kind of crawling in your bed, and you've got no communication with the outside world or with home or anything like that, after around a week, you know, you kind of think like, I wouldn't mind getting to like somewhere where there's a supermarket, maybe some air conditioning, and like, you know, maybe no ants and bugs in my bed, and maybe, you know, somewhere where there's some electricity. And yeah, so I realized that I'm good in nature and out in the wilderness and switched off and disconnected from everything in the real world for maybe around a week, maybe 2 weeks maximum. But after that I start yearning for civilization and energy. And energy is a big thing, because I think quiet time is beautiful. And actually, I'm what I would describe as a extroverted introvert, you know? So I'm very social, I'm very talkative, I like to tell a story, you can't shut me up sometimes. But I also really need to close myself away from people and go into a room on my own and just have some quiet time and just be away from people, because I need to kind of reset myself. I need to have that quiet time to reflect, to think, and just to quieten my mind, you know? And I think that's the same with the cities, you know, I like to kind of be in the nature side, where I have this kind of like bliss and quiet time, but then I start getting this like, I need the energy, I need people again, I need socializing, I need to be able to talk again and share stories with people and just chat and hang out. And I get back to a city, and the traffic and the people and the lights and the noise, that energy just like feeds me, and I'm like, yeah, okay, civilization, I'm kind of back again. So I actually love both very, very much. Now Nikki from England, who is my brother's wife, my sister-in-law, she asked me this question.
If you were to do it again, and I know you had a very big lot of luggage to carry around with you everywhere, if you could leave one item behind and take one different item, what would it be?
Last year I had one big main backpack and then one smaller backpack, which I kind of put on my front. And the reason for that was the main big one on my back was like my clothes and all my stuff, and the smaller one on my front was like my valuables. So it was like my camera, my phone, my wallet, my passport, all the stuff I couldn't afford to lose. Half of my packed bags was camera gear and electronics. Otherwise, my clothes was actually relatively minimal. If I could leave one thing behind and then replace it with something else, what would it be? It's a bit of a boring answer, but I want to say like my GoPro camera. I just can't, you know what, I think the footage sucks. I think the fisheye thing, even when you turn it off and write down, doesn't look great. It's horrible footage to edit. All the attachments and everything are just a pain in the butt. I mean, in some instances I get it can look okay, like, you know, if you're under the end of a surfboard in a tropical destination, it looks quite cool. And if you've got the most clear water in the world ever, it looks quite cool underwater. But honestly, like all that stuff you see online, when you have a GoPro camera generally in the ocean, it's going to look like a cloudy mess. And I used it, I think, once. So yeah, GoPro I would totally leave behind. What would I replace it with? Nothing. I'd probably replace it with nothing. Just have a bit more space in my bag. More coffee, guys. More coffee is needed. More coffee is needed. You know what's better than more coffee? Nothing. Okay, so Brody in Australia. Good day, mate. Hope you're doing well, mate. Brody in Australia asks, let me just check. How did I decide which countries I was going to visit during my year travelling? When I planned this whole year travelling, I spent about a year at least kind of planning it and thinking about it in advance. And the reason for that was I wasn't just doing some kind of like young kind of backpacking trip around the world. There's a lot of purpose to what I was doing. I was writing this book and filming this documentary, and the premise behind, or the idea behind at least the documentary, was that I was going to represent 4 different cultures from around the world. And why 4? Because I had a year and I thought for me to live in some places to really understand them, I needed at least a couple of months living in each place so that I can better understand it and I can better see for myself a bit more of what that country and that culture is really about. If I had like 20 years of doing this, I could live in, you know, 50 countries for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months at a time, and it'd be 50 sides of a coin or whatever. But I didn't. I had a year. I had enough money to last me 1 year. But I ended up deciding upon America because for me that represented Western culture. I wanted to include a Southeast Asian country. I chose Cambodia because they're extremely beautiful and kind people. They've been through a genocide, so they've been through a lot quite recently in recent history. And I just thought it's a good snapshot of Southeast Asia. And then I chose Japan, even though Japan Japan is quite a westernized kind of Asian country. There's nothing quite like Japan. I mean, I guess Korea maybe, but Japan it has the modern kind of flashing neon and all this kind of, high-tech kind of stuff going on, but it's also steeped in very ancient tradition, and some of those traditions are positive and some are a bit negative. And there's Shinto religion, which is all about being in harmony with nature. So I just thought it's quite an interesting and different place to be. And then for my final main destination for the 4 sides of a coin project, I chose India, because India is just... it's crazy. If you were to arrive in Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, wherever you might be, it's going to be pretty much how you imagine it and how you see it. It's going to be the explosion of colour, explosions of noise, and all your senses will be assaulted as soon as you arrive there. So how I chose my destinations were primarily based around the book and the film and those 4 countries, so America, Cambodia, Japan and India. That was for my idea for the book and the film, but also this was like my year out from work and my year travelling, so I wanted to stop off at some other places along the way. And how I chose anywhere else I went to was really based upon price, convenience, if it's affordable, if it's interesting. And from where I was in Cambodia, it's like a 6-hour bus ride into Vietnam to Saigon, and it cost $12. So I was like, let's go to Vietnam for 2 weeks. So that's cool. And then from Vietnam, I got a cheap flight from there to Bangkok, and I hung out there for 5 days. I had a friend Tay who lived there, she showed me around. And then from there it's cheap to get to, where did I go? Malaysia, that was like $45. And then I was going to Japan, you fly over South Korea, and I've never been there before. So I got a flight from Malaysia to stop in South Korea, and then I had a second flight which I booked from South Korea to Japan. Whatever works out, which is affordable, cheap, interesting, and yeah, so there you go. Okay, next question. Chris in England asks, what's the most surprising thing I learned about myself while travelling? One thing I really learned was, I remember hearing once, when you think you're done, when you think you're out of fighting spirit, when you feel like your strength is gone, you've probably only tapped into 10% of your reserves, and actually there's another 90% you don't even realise, And that's true in life. I think that when you really feel a bit defeated and you feel a bit like, everything is going wrong, how do I get out of this, when everything's going to get better and all this stuff, that you've got a lot of strength that you don't even realise is within you to deal with these things. So when I had a bad moment, I basically had this saying to myself where I would say, right Rob, dig deep. And dig deep would mean dig deep within yourself, dig deep within yourself, find that strength and use that strength to get through the situation. And it became a catchphrase to me that whenever I had a really crappy moment, I would just say to myself, Rob, it's a dig deep moment, mate. It's a dig deep moment. You just got to deal with it and just get through it. Exhale in a week or 2 when it's kind of gone. So I learned about how much strength I had that I didn't realise I had. And it's good to feel all emotions, You can't be happy all the time in anything in life. And it's not always really maybe healthy or true to be happy all the time. And if you're sad or if you're lonely, within reason, it's good to feel those emotions. Let yourself feel those emotions. Let them wash over you and let them pass. And it's okay to sit with that for a moment. Let that move along, and then a new emotion will come, a new happiness or whatever it might be will come along. And I think that's important too, is to let yourself do that. I mean, a good example of that is if someone is grieving or if they've lost someone or a family member, to just smile and get on with your day like nothing's happened isn't good or healthy. It is important to cry. It's important to miss those people and to let those feelings go, and then you can start sort of moving on and getting on with things, but properly, So I think that's true as well. Okay, so next question comes from Germany. Guten Tag, Deutschland. Guten Tag. Louise in Germany asks, what is your biggest lesson in this? So I guess a little similar to Chris's question, but my biggest lesson, this is something which I want to answer slightly differently to Chris's question, was I learned humans are extremely kind and beautiful, and people are good, People are very good. People have big hearts. I felt like a bit reassured a bit about the human race. But at the same time, and there is a but, everywhere I went there was horrific suffering caused by humans. When I arrived in New York, there was ground zero. Many people lost their lives, whichever way you look at it. I went to Saigon in Vietnam, where I saw photographs of Vietnamese children and grown-ups which had been mutilated and deformed by American soldiers using Agent Orange. I was in Bali and I visited this memorial for many victims around the world, but also around 80 Australian victims who died in a bombing attack on a nightclub there. I was in India, and I went past the Taj Hotel where there was gun attacks in the Mumbai attacks of 2007. I went into the Leopold Cafe where there's a bullet hole in the glass still at the back of the cafe. In Cambodia, there's not many people have so many grandparents left anymore, because a lot of them were wiped out by the Khmer Rouge regime during the genocide of 30-40 years ago. And that frightened me a little bit, because all I received was kindness and the goodwill of humankind everywhere I went and travelled. Yet at the same time, nearly everywhere I went, I was reminded by a memorial or a horrific event that recently happened. And these events aren't like 300 or 400 years ago. Some of them are just 10 years ago. Some of them are 20 or 30 years ago. And it reminded me that for all the goodness and kindness that human beings can be to others, and can be to me and have been to me while I was travelling, that we can also be barbaric and cause untold horrors, pain and suffering on each other. And that is a sober lesson to learn and be reminded of. Humans are beautiful and caring and loving creatures, but are also some of the most destructive and savage creatures on this planet, if not the most. So that was a lesson. Yeah. Good and bad, you know? Anyway. Last question is from Marianne in the United States of America. Although actually Marianne is from Costa Rica, so hola chica, muy bueno, vale, my español es fluido. Marianne, I'm sorry for my terrible Spanish, number one, but here's your question. You asked, what are the top 5 things I would take with me while travelling? Like, what are my go-to 5 essentials for travelling? Let me show you. Number 1 is this thing. If you have a smartphone, it's 2018, so guys, I mean, I love the idea of travelling with a map and a pen and a compass, but in reality, that's not going to help you that much in the modern age. This is what you need in the modern day, right? So your phone will help you book your accommodation, it will help you book your flights, it will help you check your banking, it will help you communicate with home, to communicate with emergency services, anything you need. So really, number 1 would be a cell phone, a smartphone, a smart cell, one of these. Number 2 would be to travel with an open heart and an open mind, which is the most important thing I could ever recommend to anyone to do. Third thing I would say to travel with, let's make this one a bit less theoretical, a bit more practical. I would take some packing cases or packing cubes, 3 black zip-up bags, and what they do is they separate your clothes in your backpack. So in one zip-up bag I have all my t-shirts and my tops and my shirts, in the second one I have jeans and shorts and pants or whatever, and the third one I might have like a beanie or a hat or some socks, and that means that sort of tops in one, bottoms in another, underwear and crap in the third one. And when you're going through your case and you go, right, I want a t-shirt, you just go, oh, it's that one, and you pull that one thing out and you open it and it's in there. You don't have to pull out all your clothes and all your stuff. And it sounds really simple, but honestly, it's a lifesaver. Number 4, let me put this in my mouth. Number 4, leading on from the packing cubes, clothes. I mean, you can't travel naked. I mean, you could. Some cultures might not take to it so kindly. Whatever, you need some clothes. So when you're packing your clothes, guys, anything you want, anything you need in the world, you can buy wherever you're going. I mean, and I say things you need, not the things you want, right? If you want a brand new DJI Mavic 2 Zoom drone, you might not find that in the Gambia, but in all fairness, if you need some toothpaste, which is what you actually might need rather than want, you can find that. Shampoos, toiletries, you don't need to take any of that stuff. Leave it behind. Number 5, what else to take? I can't really think of a 5th thing, to be honest. I'm trying to think of number 5. You don't need much, right? I mean, yeah, I guess your bank card. Your bank card and some access to some money in some way or other is the other thing, but that's all you need in life. I would take your phone, an open heart and an open mind. I would take some packing cubes. I'll take some clothes, including a raincoat, something quite practical, but minimal amount of clothes. And number 5, your bank card or your wallet. There you go. Okay, guys, so that's it for this questions and answers, and it's going to be like the last one I really do on this entire 4 sides of a vlog traveling thing. So everyone that sent your questions, thank you very, very much. And everyone who sent questions I didn't answer, I'm going to try and answer those in an Instagram video, like I said. So follow me on Instagram through the link below. If you like this video, hit the like button, it does make a difference. If you want to leave a comment, and if you want to see more videos, subscribe to this channel. There's a bunch of other videos to go and watch. There's like 30 videos of me traveling around the world. If you go click on the 4 sides of a vlog playlist, there's all these vlogs of me traveling the world, and you go watch all that stuff. Lots of love from me. Thanks again, guys. And as they say here in England, see you later, mate. See you later, mate.